successful fashion show called the Menstrual Shebang. And I spoke to Shayaka from the Wellbeing Foundation, who is now on his way actually back to Sweden. So this is a pre-recorded video, and I wanted to know more about their event in Kampala. Based in Kampala, Shayaka, who works for the Wellbeing Foundation, and together with My Period is Awesome, and they did an awesome event. My question to you, what made you come up with the idea to combine a fashion show with awareness raising around periods? And what did the fashion designer, how did they react to the idea?
Oh, thank you, Ina. So the idea came around 2 years ago. We've been running this Creative Force Swedish Institute funded program project on using creative to communicate period and try to start a conversation and fight period shame and the stigmas and the myths that come around periods. So we thought of what's the best way for us to communicate periods using creative. We started with making things like board games. We had the period dance, we've been painting and doing screen printing and all this. And the idea came like, oh, the project is ending in 2 years, so we need to celebrate with a bang with everything we've achieved and stuff, and opening our menstrual station also. So we looked around, and mainly one of the things that happened in the station is people learn how to sew their own reusable pads. That was the beginning. And then it ended up people learning how to make clothes and what really using a sewing machine. So fashion was the closest thing to the creative tools that we had. And one of our partners in Sweden, who is Statement by Lan, is a designer, is a jewelry designer. So it was only making sense as the closest thing. And I'm like, this is a shameful topic and everyone is supposed to talk about it. If people are having fun, and how do you paint the beauty around it? And I was like, fashion is elegant. So if we're communicating through fashionable clothes and all this, I think it will be fun. And it's happened because everyone enjoyed the show. Everyone was excited. There were the word periods and menstruation mentioned throughout the show, and no one was gross. Everyone was just having fun. And for the designers, most of them, even the girls, were like, oh, I'd never thought of this. This is interesting. And like most of them took it on as a challenge. And like, this is an interesting one to make things around. Then I was like, imagine what's the most concerning part about your periods? Because there were 7 designers and 6 of them were women. They're like, okay, so based on one thing that concerns you the most when you have your periods, and get the inspiration. And Bob, they've been so excited to do this. And then the male designer, what would come to his mind was like, yeah, I remember in school, like girls were so scared to be stained and what. I think I'll do something about cool up with stains and outfits that make people comfortable with having stains and normalize it. And that's how it happened. I hope this answers your question.
Absolutely. We'll show some of the amazing pictures from the designers, and that you have made a real big fashion show, super fancy, and people can also look at this on their website. So my question to you is, what was the response to the event? Can you share some highlights?
So the response to the event was awesome, because in the beginning, we are a small organization, and in the beginning, as we tried to talk to people, call on sponsors and what, no one thought we would make it as big as we did. They're like, no, you can't pull that off. It's big organizations that pull things like that off. And how are you going to convince people? No one wants to be part of anything to do with periods. So that 8 out of 10 were rejections when we started to approach people. So we decided to do this ourselves using the Swedish Institute funding to cater for part of the show. And then as an organization, like, we have to hustle and make this happen. And fortunately, now the buzz is unstoppable. Like, everyone like now has a different picture about, because there were questions of like, oh, spending all this money on doing a fancy show, you would have bought pads. There are girls out there who don't have pads and tampons. It would have helped them a lot and stuff. And like, at first it was annoying. Like many people asking me this question at the show. Then I realized like, oh, that's why we have this show, to show like periods are beyond just menstrual material and what, the deeper challenges.
Super. Awesome. Yeah. And you definitely